Hey, before you watch this thing, hit subscribe, would you? It was funny watch. I've been doing Joe Rogan's podcast since he did it in his basement. I'm probably on one of the first 20 episodes or something. So watching people's reluctance, revulsion, what is your acceptance, then jealousy has been fun for me as somebody who's a reluctant liberal or a conflicted liberal. Because here's the thing that liberals don't understand that I wish I'd mentioned earlier. The need to belong might supersede all other human needs. The feel like you belong. Joe and I couldn't be more different, but we have enough commonality to feel like he likes me, I like him. It's a warm environment. And what has been your arc in terms of understanding the broosphere, whatever
Look,
it's
I've
called?
I've pitched Rogan on all of my books. If I'm not on that show, it's not because I don't want to be.
Oh, that's funny. I almost feel like I was gonna recommend you at one point. Dude,
please
you should
do.
have.
I've pitched it multiple times on Abundance. Any absence of me there is not because I have some kind of feeling about it.
No. But you know that there was a thing on the left of don't go there.
Look, when there was a big fight on the left, it was stupid as all hell. But forget what year this was now. But the year that Sanders went on Rogan, and then on Twitter, there were a bunch of lefties being like, how dare you?
Yeah.
And I was on Twitter then, and I was like, the fuck is wrong with you all?
Yeah.
The whole case for Bernie Sanders is that he's the kind of guy Joe Rogan would like, and he can go into that space and it works. Politics is about persuasion. I became a trending topic because lefties were yelling at me so much for defending Bernie Sanders for going on Joe Rogan. I just don't have this view about how media works. You have to go to where people don't agree with you, not just where they do. There are some places where you're not going to find open minds, but that's not Rogan or wasn't Rogan. My sort of entry into podcasting was not Rogan, but sort of adjacent. So the first two podcasts that I listened to a lot were Pete Holmes, You Made It Weird, and Tim Ferriss. And so that sort of world of podcasting, and then I would listen to people who were on them, and so I've listened to all these shows. I just sort of grew up in podcasting with that. And one of, I think, the really damaging things that happened is this tendency to try to push certain shows into that's not our kind of place. Yeah. And something I noticed happen. So I think you're saying the one of the most, maybe the most important human drive is to belong. That's true. Another very important human drive is to improve. People really want to improve. And podcasting, just a fucking tremendous amount of podcasting is about self-improvement. And for women, self-help podcasting became left-coded. So Brene Brown, Esther Perel, all kinds of great shows, right? For men, self-help podcasting, which is what a lot of Rogan, Ferriss,
they call it optimization, whatever.
Anything, Peter Attia, it became right-coded. And that I was watching that happen. I was telling people, this is a disaster. The thing everybody wants, if you're going to abandon male self-help to the right, you are going to abandon men to the right.
I talked about depression on Rogan, and it's got a million. You know what I mean? It's stuff that it would be it's left.
He also got much more political over the years, in my view.
Agreed.
He back then, it was weightlifting and UFC, and there was some politics, comedy, but so much of that world is about becoming a better man. Defined in a certain way, but also I'm genuinely interested. I consume what feels to me like a psychotic amount of protein and weightlift.
So you really do listen. Pretty great.
Rogan was never specifically my speed, but oh my God, the idea that I am somehow immune from these trends. Loved all the psychedelic, the big psychedelics boom in podcasting. These are all things I was interested in before the podcast too.
I talked about DMT, ayahuasca on Joe's, and it's, again, more people come up to me from that than
abandoning
Netflix.
the things that men talk about to the right is just, it is the stupidest possible politics.
Yeah.
You don't want to abandon spaces. You just don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everything is equal here. I think that there's a lot of Fox News that it's just, I don't think it's like, I don't go on Newsmax, not because I think it'd be wrong of me to do so. I just don't think I'm going to persuade many people.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a space that like these 4-minute like little cable news hits. But I've been on Ben Shapiro's show multiple times.
Yeah.
You know, I genuinely, politics is about persuasion. And not only that,
I think that's the thing that the
about,
left lost because they didn't think they needed to. It
well,
was they were
about
so
hearing.
righteous.
Persuasion also isn't just you telling other people what you think. I learn when I go on those shows. I get a sense of how other people are thinking about other things, what answers they would come up with to my arguments. I truly don't. I think of that as anti-politics. Like that way of thinking about things, that approach where what you're trying to do is say, this is not our kind of space, not our kind of people. What we're going to try to do is marginalize it, like push it off the board. I'm not saying you should never try to do that. I think there are some things in society that we have, until maybe fairly recently, like correctly said, we don't do that. You know, Nazis.
For instance,
until Musk took Twitter back over, but or took Twitter over. But I think you got to be really careful. That should be a pretty small number of things. And when things are getting big, you can't pretend that you have, if it has organic interest, like you can't pretend that you can marginalize it. You don't get to choose what matters in society.
Yeah.
And so just ignoring it or abandoning it, it's just like it's a huge and obvious mistake.
Great. No, I agree.
I don't know where people were expecting that to go.
Well, neither do I. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if it's social media or but it was this this like insistence on being correct. Like, and then we won't even talk. It's not my job to teach you or any of that
it's not my job
stuff.
to educate you. And then people end up feeling, again, the most key thing, you don't like them.
Yeah.
I've been doing, as part of, Abundance has created a bunch of interest for me on some of these shows. And have been, without like naming any names here, I've been struck by how many of the podcasters in adjacent spaces are really personally wounded. They want to, like, I go on the show, it's like a therapy session about how much they're considered a certain way. And I was like, in some cases, I didn't even realize they were considered that way.
I kind of think all of it is. I think Bill O'Reilly went to Harvard, wasn't popular. I think Roger Ailes was it's all grievance. It's all personal grievance. I think a lot of like Joe, Theo, Schulz were sort of like, you're not quite for us.
Yeah,
and then they go, okay, fuck you. And by the way, showbiz was wrong because all those guys are really fucking funny and talented. So, but it's just snobbery. And then they go, okay, fuck you.
Yeah, I was
show
on Flagrant Out longer.
Yeah,
I like Schulz enormously. Yeah. Those guys are very, very sharp.
Yeah.
But Ailes those are true believers, right?
Yeah.
They have a real politics to them. And I respect that about them.
But I think it may be born out of personal
but
grievance.
I think for a bunch of them, like I want to give people also, it's not like only liberal politics can be authentically motivated. And if you're on the right, you're born
I
of
agree.
grievance.
I completely agree with
that. But Rogan, I don't even think Schulz is on the right at this point. I mean, it's my perception of him. Yeah. He should speak for himself. Theo Von, I don't really have a clear sense of his politics. Like before people will come up with a completely internally coherent ideology where, like everything fits on one side or the other, what they're going to sense is, do you like them? Mm-hmm. And with, a bunch of people like I've run into, I've been really struck by how strong their sense of being disliked was and how much that wounded them. Like, I don't know how much that's a factor in Rogan. I assume what happened with him around COVID and vaccine misinformation was extremely radicalizing to him. Like that is my impression.
And CNN kept going like horse pills, and it's like, it won the Nobel Prize as an anti-malaria drug.
But when you have a horse deworming medication that's discouraged by the government, that's the upside down world we're in with figures like Joe Rogan.
The 2015 Nobel Prize, a novel therapy against malaria.
Quote,
ivermectin.
Stop calling it horse pills.
So
It won the Nobel Prize for human malaria
so
recently.
you get into this thing where I just think a very, very important part of politics is not radicalizing people against you.
Yes.
Sometimes people are so focused on the 20 or 30 or 40% of disagreement they have with someone. It's like that they miss it. They could have 50 or 60% of agreement. Politics is won by having 60%.
Yeah.
Not,
and their echo
not
chamber
purity.
tells them it's a betrayal if they try to court those people.
And look, the right has plenty of its own dogmas. I mean, you cannot be a Trump person in good standing and say the 2020 election was correctly decided. The thing that is interesting to me, it's like the left, its purity test was very programmatic. So you had to agree with all of these different things, on healthcare, on cultural issues, on all these different, The right, it just eventually became Trump. And if you agreed on Trump, then you could have all kinds of other opinions, right? You could be RFK Jr., you could be, Thomas Massey, you could be,
Peter Thiel doesn't even believe in people.
So Trump ends up having, probably at the beginning, I think this is beginning to break down now, a very wide coalition ideologically, because the only agreement he is demanding is on him. It's like a single point of agreement. And if you're willing to bend the knee, then there's actually a lot of flexibility for you outside of that. Now it's getting harder for them. And, he and Musk broke up, and you can sort of see the way as choices get made, you lose that coalition, but it's effective for them in 2024.
Just hit it. Don't you want me to feel good? Subscribe.